Happy days. Hello.
Hello, Joel. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How's your week been so far?
Yeah, good. Productive. I think working on the new kind of role that we'll mention in a little bit. Lots of meetings yesterday. Good meetings.
Yeah.
Like a day full of meeting people.
Hey,
Yeah. So.
come on, what more can you ask for
No.
than a Monday full of people?
I do enjoy that though. To be fair, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even though you're probably more on the introverted side.
Yes. So I've noticed it today.
And
I'm a little bit like, oh, okay, just a bit.
need a bit of me time.
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny. That's very funny.
What about you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So probably similar to yourself. Monday's always a bit full.
Yeah. Now that we've got our shared office as well,
it's a party.
It's good.
Party in the shared office. But yeah, I played basketball last night. So
cool.
so I've started playing for the team.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things about being tall is people just immediately assume you can
you're
play.
a pro.
And I'm really not. Like, I'm definitely one of the worst on the team,
fantastic.
and like I'm learning. So I've realised playing basketball at the park is very different to playing a proper game.
Yeah,
you need to know where to stand, how to position yourself, all this stuff.
All the lingo, I'm guessing. As well.
Oh, I have no idea what anyone's saying. Like, so one of when I'm on the court, sometimes people shout at you different things, and one of them was like baseline.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that meant I needed to go and stand at the baseline of the court.
Right. Okay.
But what they're saying is that someone's running round on the baseline you need to be aware of.
See.
I've
So you
got
just
no
left it completely open, basically.
I've got no clue. So I'm figuring it out, but I'm enjoying it. But I did manage to, like, I don't know if you can see, I've managed to like bruise my finger with the ball just landed funny. So
I actually fractured my little finger once picking up a football.
do you know, this doesn't surprise me, Joel.
It was rolling to me, and I went down to grab it, and I just somehow mistimed it completely.
Yeah.
And as I put my hands down to grab it, my finger went straight onto the top of the ball.
Wow.
I was like, oh, like it really hurt. And then I had to go to the hospital like the following day because it was literally like purple and swollen.
That's
and
so
I
funny.
literally fractured my finger. I was like, great.
And do you know what's hilarious about this is I think a couple of years ago you managed to seriously damage your knee playing rounders.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
I feel a little bit like a Lego man.
Yeah.
Like bits just fall off me all the time. So,
It's good.
I'm getting
good.
stitched back together. Who knows what else will fall off?
So you had an interesting morning on Sunday.
Yeah.
Obviously,
yeah.
so for those who maybe haven't managed to listen to the sermon yet or listen to the recording, we announced that you and Sarah will be going and planting a church in Buxton by the end of 2026. So we're kind of thinking September, December.
Yeah, September, I guess, in an ideal place if we've got our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, end of December is like absolute
final cut off.
Yeah.
So that was big news.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling about that and having got the news out?
Honestly, like sigh of relief.
Yeah.
I think we've obviously been holding on to it for quite a while, and we wanted to make sure that we were sharing with. I think we shared with our youth. Our life group first, our youth leaders, the youth, just kind of those kind of smaller spaces that we've been like really quite intentional with, and that's been great. But obviously there's like it's that dynamic of, well, some people know and some people don't, so we're kind of watching our language, and the reason of that is not that we're trying to keep it from people. We just don't want it slipping out, and then it jars some people that would have liked to know. Like,
you want to say it well,
right? Exactly. Yeah. So, finally being able to kind of get it out to the whole church on Sunday. Like I was actually just quite excited to share. I was really ready, and funny environment because I knew that probably some of the room knew, some of the room wouldn't, and there's that dynamic to manage there. But I'm just glad that we're able to. Yeah, we've shared this news to the church. Kind of makes it feel a little bit more real, a bit more tangible. And I think as well it's helpful for kind of like what's next. So that everybody is prepared and nothing else is coming as a surprise. Yeah. Because there's been a lot of new stuff, hasn't there, over the couple of months, looking at vision and all that kind of thing. So I think it'd be nice just to kind of know where we're heading now. And
we've got a direction of travel, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. And Sarah, how she found it? I mean,
honestly, very similar. I think she enjoyed the interview. She enjoyed sharing what she was able to, and I think it's been very similar similar journey for her, that she's kind of been holding on to it for a while and has been ready to share with people. And it's been fascinating, the responses. I think some people have been like really excited for us, like, oh, that sounds great, that's amazing. Other people have been like, well, regardless of how I feel, it's what God wants, so it's absolutely the right thing. Other people have kind of not responded, I would say, like emotionally in that moment, but they've kind of clearly been processing a little bit through it. And then some people have been kind of sad and disappointed that we're heading off. And
maybe a little bit of both thrown in, excited and sad.
And it's the same for me and Sarah. Like, as much we're excited because we like change, and we're excited because we love what God is stirring in us. But we're also really sad to leave what's happening here, because we've seen how much God's done, the relationships that have been formed, the direction of where the church is going. Like, I love that as well. And so it's sad to leave. It's sad to leave that, but more than anything, it's sad to leave the people and the relationships that we formed with people. And just I can think back to like past years of just like moments of just laughter and having fun together, and then just really digging deep into God's word. There's been just many special moments that I think I'm gonna miss.
Well, I think people will probably feel the same, mate, and probably appreciate hearing that, because you know, when you're saying all this stuff really excitedly, it's like
clearly,
hang on, are you just ready to go now? And just to hear the fact that like there's a cost in this for us as well, and
definitely
that's really good. And I think it was interesting. Obviously, when I was hosting this kind of Q&R bit at the end, I was just aware of the clock as well as anything else, and just not wanting to, overstretch things. And so probably we didn't get enough time for people to ask their questions, but we've got loads of time now. We've got well over a year to begin to process this news, to ask the questions we need to ask, and to prayerfully bring them to God and see, what is it that He's got for us. And in fact, it just got me thinking about transition, right? That I think often churches struggle to think about transition. Usually because we don't like change. So it's almost like we sometimes like to bury our head in the sand, pretend change isn't coming rather than to talk about it. And I came across this quote by William Vandervliet, and he said this. He said, "Effective leaders plan ahead for the time when they can no longer lead, and they prayerfully prepare for that day." Right? So we consider what's coming. We recognize we're stewards here for a season, all of us. So there will be a day where Elim Glossop exists, and none of the people who are currently part of Elim Glossop will be here anymore. Right? This church has been here for 140 years. So we definitely weren't there when it started, and there'll be a day where that's the same. And so we need to plan and prepare for those days that are yet to come.
Definitely.
So with that in mind, I think there's kind of two main categories of questions that people have been asking and will continue to ask. One's around what's it going to look like for Elim Glossop here with you guys going, and then the second is what's it going to look like in Buxton when you head out there. So I thought it'd be cool to explore this whole thing of what's it going to look like here. So do you maybe want to talk into kind of the conversations we've been having a little bit, the things we're thinking through, where we've got to, because obviously youth, worship, assistant minister, you've been involved in a lot. So go ahead.
So I think, when we first met, I think the heart was church planting, and the kind of goal was 2 years, maybe 3, with the intention of raising up leaders, helping strengthening Elim Glossop, and then me and Sarah would go on, and obviously it's been quite cool to see that's actually happened.
It's happened, it's great when a plan comes together.
It really is. And I think one of the areas that we've seen that working in already is worship, particularly. So it's been a massive blessing having Simon Lodge kind of, I'd say quite a quick turnaround of him, joining the team and then doing song leading, then becoming a worship leader, and now he's the creative music lead, kind of having a lot bigger hand in that. I think that's been really, really good. And that's been part of the journey, raising up those leaders to kind of, so I take a little bit of more of a step back. And
yeah, because I imagine some people are a bit like, why have we taken Simon on? We've got Joel in there.
Yeah.
And of course we couldn't say, well, we're preparing.
Yeah.
But that was definitely part of it. Of we want to see how the church can continue its ministry with you having less of a hands-on role in
that. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm still obviously oversee the worship, still investing in input in Simon.
Yeah.
And I think it's basically going to be it's a mirror image with youth, and I think that's the heart. So over this next year, my role's changing a little bit to be what we've called reaching the generations. It's one of the focuses that we've got as a church, and the heart behind this really is to oversee kids, oversee youth, and it might kind of venture into parenting and a few other areas, but at the moment predominantly the year that I've got would be kids and youth, with the view of raising up, training, releasing leaders to be doing the hands-on work, to be kind of on the ground, using their gifts, which they already are, serving in the ways that they already are, but almost getting to that place is the ideal where me and Sarah might still be around, but we're not going to be as hands-on with things at all. Eventually, with the view that the last couple of months or something, we might not actually be doing the work, but we're there to make sure that actually it's not going to feel like a hit as much when we leave.
And that would be a good transition, right? So the prayer is that by the time you're leaving, that the church is already sustaining her ministry, and not just sustaining, but continuing to grow and develop.
Seeing it flourish. More people serving, more people kind of working in kids, youth, who are passionate about different aspects of those teams as well.
I think to name it a little bit, I think probably some people have got in their minds, are we going to get a Joel 2.0?
Yes.
Right? So we're going to bring in another assistant minister who's going to come and do a very similar thing.
Yeah.
The answer is we don't know.
Yeah.
We're probably not leaning towards that.
Yeah.
We're probably leaning towards more looking at a reaching the generations kind of person to come in and really invest in children, youth, and supporting parents. That's
and particularly like the leaders, right? So it's not necessarily coming in to do the hands-on work, lead all the ministries, because that's a huge task, and you can't do everything on a Sunday morning. But particularly, invest in the leaders, help them grow and flourish, settle into kind of the gifts that God's given to them. And a little bit of that is what I'm going to explore this year. So it's a new role. We've not done it before. I'm going to be kind of testing the waters, see what works, what doesn't work. And I guess at the end of that year, asking that question, is this a role? Is it a full-time role? Is it a part-time role? And what I'm encouraged by is the reason that we're probably leaning less towards getting a Joel 2.0 is actually the strength of the people in the church. So we'd need me to come in if we didn't have the people in church already who are so gifted and passionate to serve and willing to volunteer their time and who are doing such a great job in these ministries. If we didn't have that, we'd need someone to come in.
So a good example of this is even already Simon's taking on a lot of the kind of practical day-to-day music, creative stuff. We were meeting with him yesterday looking at how can we improve and enrich our worship gatherings from like the little niggles that happen all the way through to kind of the bigger picture stuff. So Simon's been involved in that. Charlotte Jones has taken on a few of your administrative stuff,
which would have probably fallen under the assistant minister's space, wouldn't it?
So she's carrying a little bit more of that, which is why you're now free to look more at a reaching generations role. And then I think the other thing that I really like about the Reaching Generations is in the youth ministry, because it's not just on a Sunday morning, you can be a lot more present. But in the children's ministry, because often we're wrapped up with stuff on a Sunday, people like Joe Beckford, Monica Jones, Charlotte Jones, they're not necessarily getting the same level of input that the youth team are getting. And imagine what they could, they're already doing an amazing job, but imagine what it could be if they're getting like that continuous support, encouragement, equipping to build themselves up to flourish in their roles. I think it would be amazing for the church, amazing for kids, and not just for the kids that we already have, but the kids we want to reach. which is kind of where we want to get to with our children's work.
Yeah, definitely, and even more so with our youth work as well. It's a both and. I think we, there's that heart to reach out, and we have been doing that in the youth ministry, but it's been an intentional slow burn, just to kind of stretch us a little bit, test the waters. But there's a real heart in the team to go, let's do this. Like, let's really get out there and let's reach out to the high schools, and I think the same for the kids. It'll be just testing some things out, having a go at a couple of different things, but how can we reach out into the community and see more young families in the church? See us grow in that aspect, and see more kids coming up through mini adventurers into adventurers into youth and so on. So there's a lot of exciting things happening, a lot of kind of testing things out, seeing where we go and how we do. And again, I love the fact that I guess one of my assistant minister roles was preaching. Still going to be doing a bit of that, but again, the beauty is there's people in the church that are coming to the surface that were like, actually, I think you've got a teaching gift. I think you've got a preaching gift, and giving people opportunity who are going, all right, I'll give it a go. And it's not a worry of stepping away from that either. So and it's great. So I would say, in terms of transition, where we're at is we're identifying some needs. We don't have all the answers. So we don't know what it looks like. We don't know if it is right to bring a Reach and Generations person in. We don't know if it's right to bring an assistant minister in. And to name the other thing is, we don't know who's out there. Because all the messages we receive, even when we were looking for someone for your role, the messages we're receiving is like, you're not gonna find
there's
someone.
not a lot of people out there. Now I believe that God will raise up the workers. He says to pray for those who will bring in the harvest, pray for workers. So I trust God with that, but we don't know. And so there's a sense in which we are surrendering this to God. We're taking steps. We've started exploring. We've reached out to a few of our networks to see who may be out there. But it's because we've got a year, we've got time. And I mean, even we've thought about transition even with your life group.
Absolutely.
So do you want to maybe share what you're thinking with that?
So our life group's, I guess, fairly new to some degree still. I mean, it kind of was launched mid this year. We've been growing, got more people in ratchet capacity now, which is fantastic. But Sue Ashworth, real heart for the life group, and real potential to lead and can lead well. And I think the hope and prayer is that she'll essentially take on the life group as me and Sarah.
Because she's already part of your group.
Part of our group, leading it already. I think we've had those conversations early on enough that perhaps for her it's working out the spaces where she may not feel as confident. Great, we've got time to develop and train and invest so that she's stepping into it from a place of strength. And so the transition of that would be great, and that is with the heart that our life groups will keep multiplying, keep growing. So
it's good. And I think the more we do this, the more we talk about multiplying, sending, releasing, the more transition's important. How we handle this is really important, because if it's just sending you out and then we're going to figure out the vacuum that's left, that's a lot harder to steward what God's doing here than if we have prayerfully prepared for the time when you and Sarah are no longer with us. Good. So that's on that side of things, and obviously we're going to have lots of space to talk about that moving forward. The other side of it is, what's it going to look like in Buxton? Right. Obviously, you've shared a little bit about house church. It's kind of like not just sharing the gospel, sharing your lives with one another. You've talked about this kind of the personal mission, and then the shared mission, where personal's like in my workplace, in my everyday life. Shared mission is we might adopt a school or some kind of community thing,
sport club, something like that we're all reaching out together.
To kind of show the love of Christ in a tangible way to people. So those were really clear, and I think people got a sense that we had questions around accountability, which you talked about still being within ELIM and overseen by but what would be some of the things? One of the questions that I thought was very interesting is, what does going with you look like? So some people are like, okay, if I did want to come, because we think there are some people who are kind of curious at this stage,
testing the waters.
does it mean we have to go and live with you in your house? Is that what a house church is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all live in one room together.
And I think Sarah on Sunday was a bit like, well, I suppose you could if you wanted to, but it's maybe not where our heart is. Do you want to maybe talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I actually think there's pros and cons to both. So if it worked out that we were all to live in a space together, the pro of that is the financial aspect.
Yeah.
You actually get a much bigger place.
Yeah.
Because we would look to rent, we probably wouldn't look to buy a house because the heart is to move from place to place in Buxton and plant more of these. And so you could rent a much bigger space, which is a much bigger space than for everyone to meet in. So that's definitely a pro, and it helps you in terms of modelling what being genuine family looks like when you're not actual related family. What does it look like to be the family of Christ when we live under the same house? Iron sharpens iron, all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely some positives that come out of that. Obviously the cons are that you only have one house. So what happens when one of the couple or whatever go off and plant? Well, then there's a massive financial cost that weighs on that house. So there's things to think about there. I think probably where we'd lean towards the most is having separate homes. For the purpose of, say, we go and there's another couple with us who are coming, or 2 or 4 people. They've got their own spaces and they're willing to host. If me and Sarah are unwell or ill and we can't host that day or whatever, there's another space that the church can continue to meet. So it's not dependent on one place. And it also opens up that instant accessibility for more house churches to be planted in different areas. And so I think if you can establish that as a bit of a model, I think that would be really helpful. So it's not that we're opposed to it. I just think probably the best practice would be having 1, 2, 3 different spaces that we can meet in, see more churches grow.
But the spirit of sharing your life, sharing meals, being involved, that's definitely part of what you're
definitely. And one of the things that we didn't mention that I forgot that is really on our heart is to have this centered around food. Right? So there is just something that happens when you get a group of people around a table and there's food. It just opens up conversation. We've seen it in a setting where everyone sits down, there is no food, and it can feel a little bit uncomfortable at points. There's something about just having food, being able to eat a meal together, that just relaxes you, and it's just a lovely environment. Me and Sarah, we're big foodies, so it's definitely a positive.
And that's definitely like the heart of God, isn't it? Because even when he redeems everything and everything's made new, he describes it as a wedding banquet, right? So this idea that we were made to enjoy food and company together, that's right at the heart of our hospitable God, who just wants to welcome people into his wedding feast sort of thing. So it just makes total sense, and in some ways I'm very jealous that's what you want to build it around. That's great.
Pray for a big table.
That's it. I mean, we do food here, but I feel like if we did it every week, Jill might collapse in a heap. Good. Okay, so another question that was asked was around other churches in Buxton. So I imagine this is something that probably needs working through a little bit, but if there's already good churches there, all right, why do we need another church in Buxton? Why would we sacrifice and obviously release you and Sarah, which is a cost for us? Why would you leave a secure job and all that sort of stuff just to go and plant where there's already churches there who are already doing good things? So do you maybe want to speak into that a little bit? I think there's a few different dynamics here. One of the big ones is something you've mentioned a few times, this whole idea that we're planting a forest. And in many forests the trees don't look the same. Right. But they're all part of the forest together. And I think it's a helpful language, it's a helpful image, because there are going to be some people, even in Glossop, they will never step foot in this building. They just won't. And we're not going to be able to reach them because they, for whatever reason, it's like the institutionalization of it. It's too big of a space, and so some people will only. So just to say on that, we do have real life examples of people who have such high social anxiety being in a room full of other people. I was talking to someone just the other day who's been part of our church for a while, recently diagnosed with autism, finds big crowds overwhelming. and is kind of clicking, oh gosh, that's why I'm struggling on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So just wanted to add to that, really.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think the reality is there are different, the church is the people, but there's different models of being the church that cater to just it's not even like people's preference, it's just how people are wired.
Yeah.
Like, me and Sarah can do well in a church like this, but how we're wired is for the smaller space and setting. And so I think there'll be people, church planting, I think you said, is 8 times more effective at reaching people.
Up to
8 times. It's 100, it's definitely
because
8 times.
Some church plants fail.
That's true,
so.
Yes. Up to 8 times more effective. And we're going to reach people in Buxton through the house church model that other good churches in Buxton are not going to reach.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's about saying that, well, they've already got a good church that looks like this, so why would you go in, replicate another church that looks exactly the same to try and reach exactly the same people? That's where people often go, why do you need another church there? Because it's only like, well, we're just going to do exactly what they're doing, we're going to try and do it better and compete, and we're going to try and take some of their people and hopefully get some new people in. Like, that's not what it's about. We recognise that what we're looking to do is going to reach different people, and there are people who the other churches in Buxton may not reach because of styles, preferences, whatever, and there's people in Buxton who need to know Jesus, and what we're doing is going to help introduce him.
And also, I imagine, we've not done a lot of research yet into how many churches versus how large the community is, but my general sense in the UK is there's far more people in the population than there are churches. Like, we're not struggling because we have too many, we're struggling because we have too little. We're not reaching as far and as wide as maybe we'd love to. Good. Okay, so I want to end with kind of a bit more of a devotional thought, I guess, based on the conversation we had on Sunday around this whole idea of stepping out in your calling, right? Because you've had this bubbling away inside for a long time, and you, just to name a few of the dynamics, you're willing to leave a secure paid salary and you're going to go and maybe find some work over there, but you're not sure what it's going to be.
I've been praying about it. I've been coming up with all sorts of potential options. At the moment, I just sense in my spirit God going, don't worry about it. It'll be clear when you go. I'm like, okay, cool.
So there's that side. So it's unknown what you're heading into there. You're leaving a church that loves you, that appreciates you, values you, where you're already bearing fruit. So it's not, oh gosh, it's a struggle here, let's get out.
Right.
It's actually God's
Things
already
are going really well.
God's already using you here, and then that sense of calling something more, and then just a new community, so there's costs to this, and I would say generally when God calls us into things, I say generally, almost always, there's a sense in which it's beyond us, bigger than us, and often can feel quite overwhelming, daunting, all that kind of stuff. Often people in the Bible are saying like, why me? Or no, I'm not going.
Surely
like,
you can pick someone else.
Name your Bible character, they'll have said it. So how are you feeling about stepping out? Is there anything that kind of you find yourself wrestling with around this stepping out into calling? Because although people might not be called to the same thing, the same spirit, I guess, is required. So
I think I remember you asking me this question. You said something along that lines of like, is there anything that you feel like you're wrestling with God around when going to Buxton? And I was reflecting, and I was like, internally, I was like, I don't feel like there is, but how can I say that? Surely there's got to be something. I was like, I actually don't think there is.
Yeah.
And then you said to me, has it always been like that? And I was like, no, it hasn't. And I think that's the difference. I think there's lots of unknowns. There's lots of things that we're stepping into. We've never done this before. We've heard of it failing quite a bit. And we're going to learn some things that we've never even heard of before. We're going to try and put into practice some things that we know in principle, but actually maybe haven't really lived out in reality yet. So there's going to be some of that stuff that's going on. We are going to have to find a new place and find the right place and trust God for the right place. There's so many factors to think about, trust God in. I'm not wrestling with any of it. Because I'm totally like, God's got this.
Yeah.
He's brought me to a place where I trust him enough and I trust his character enough that even if I'm stepping into the unknowns and that's what he's calling us to, it's gonna be awesome. Like, because I know him.
Yeah.
And I know that he's brought me through so many situations where I've had to trust him, had to rely on him, and I've gone, oh wow, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And those experiences, along with understanding Scripture and how Scripture describes God, have just helped bolster my view of the character of God, the goodness of God. So I'm stepping into the unknowns, not looking at this going, how am I supposed to do this? There's definitely a level of going, I don't know how to do this, but I'm like, but God can. Like, God will use me and Sarah to do his work in and through us, as long as we're remaining in a posture that's open. Didn't always used to be like that. I used to be someone who loved control, and so if I didn't know what my plan was a year ahead, exactly where I was going, what I was going to do, what things were going to look like, I'd be stressing about it. Like, I'd be like, I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. And it was crazy because it's like, so much can happen in a year, but I would need to know at least a year ahead, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm living, this is what job I'll have, this is how everything will look. And I think it was a fear of the unknown. And for me, that came from, I just wasn't trusting God in that. I felt like I needed to have all the plans, and then I would be safe and secure, and things would be okay, and I'd be financially stable, and, you know, I'd have all of these things that I cared deeply about. And actually God's changed my heart so much in that I'm like, I'm okay not providing all these things for myself, because I trust that God will provide what I need when I need it.
Because essentially what you're saying there is, I felt like I needed to be my own God.
Basically, yeah.
I needed to be in control.
Yeah.
I needed to make sure I was secure and safe. And it's not actually your job.
Nope.
That's God's job. And your job is to surrender, to trust him, to be obedient, to love him enough to trust the difficult things as well as
and how I've got there has been a mix of different things. It's been intentionally meditating on the character of God, recognizing, okay, I feel this way because I clearly am not trusting in God enough. So it's like, there's a shortfall there. I'm like, okay, well then I'm going to do something about that. I'm going to meditate on the character of God. So there's definitely been a part of that. As he's been gracious to reveal things to me and going, the reason you're planning this is that you want financial stability. Okay, there's some stuff around money there that I need to work through, that I have worked through. So that's been stuff that I've been, you know, bringing to God. And then, as I said before, it's been experience. As I've looked back over my life, there's been many moments where I've stepped into something that I wasn't sure what it was going to look like, and I've looked back and gone, oh yeah, it's been okay. I'm still here. I'm doing all right. I'm thriving. Like, God's good. And so actually just seeing that even in the unknowns, I can trust God through that. So yeah, there's been a mix of different things, and it's been a process of years. It's not. It wasn't a snap of the finger. It wasn't a couple of months. It's been a long process, and still, you know, there's still moments that things crop up that I'm like, it's like an onion.
Yeah.
There's layers of things that God is working and peeling off the layers to reveal more and more. But I'm so grateful to him for how he's changing and shaping me, because it's actually just creating a deep excitement to go, let's do it. I'm in. I'm all in. I'm happy for this.
So I think about Peter, right? Because I was just thinking that must be most of the biblical characters who feel a call from God. At first, their instinctive response is either fear or like outright rebellion. I won't go. Like, I'm not going to do it. And Peter's like one of those guys that he goes on a real journey of being confronted by his own like his own character, the stuff that's in him, in the midst of it, you know, stepping out on the water or whatever. But eventually he becomes this kind of person who is used powerfully by Jesus once Jesus has ascended to heaven, right? And I think that's reflective of all of our journey to an extent of like, we don't just become the kind of person who will happily step out and trust God in some uncertainty. We become that kind of person by putting ourselves in positions regularly to discover who God is. Like, if you don't step into uncertainty, you don't ever find out if you can trust him with it, you know.
And I think I'd say as well, like, one of the things that underpins a lot of this, and even Peter, I think, is a soft heart. I think we sometimes can underestimate that. But if you do and pray, if you feel like you don't have a soft heart, I've definitely done that, God, just stop in my heart. That a soft heart is responsive and obedient to the call of God. So you might sense him calling you to step out, and it's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm refusing to do that. Actually, a soft heart is going, okay, God, I really don't want to do this, but I'm going to trust you in it. A soft heart allows God to reveal things about your character that you thought, I've got this sorted, I've got this nailed down, and he's like, have you? There's a few things that we need to work on. A soft heart goes, oh, okay, I'm willing still to be renewed and sanctified and changed and made to look more like Jesus. And I think praying for a soft heart in all of this is really, really critical. And
beautiful. So if you're someone right now who's listening who maybe has felt the call of God and pushed against it, resisted it, praying for a soft heart. I love that thing of a soft heart is open and responsive to be obedient to God. Like, that's so true. And I guess my heart for our church here in Glossop is that we would possess that soft heart towards God, that we would be willing to respond to his call on our lives, whatever that looks like. And it's not all going to look like go and plant a church in Buxton.
No.
It's not all going to look like go and plant a church in X, Y, and Z. For some people that might be it. For others, it's going to be, my call on your life is to stay in that difficult space in your family life and to be a light in the darkness. And that's what I'm calling you to. And that'll be a costly act of service to God.
And sometimes God's call on your life isn't what you want in the moment. And then when he works on your heart and changes some things, it, like my example has been home. I love home and I love a place of settling down. God's worked on that in my heart, and it's hurt and it's been painful to realise, oh, he's not calling me to have a home. He's calling me and Sarah to move from place to place and plant churches like that. So like, oh, so I don't get to settle down anywhere. Like, that's been quite a process of working that through. And so, but I'm so glad he has, because I have a far deeper excitement now about where he's taking us in life, the adventure that we're going to go on with him. I can't tell you how excited I am about that. And I'm so glad he's done that in my heart.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
Excited for you. So let's pray that God would give us a soft heart to be responsive to his call. Even if it means sacrifice and cost, there's a joy at the end of it. Think of Jesus. He endured the cross.
The joy set before him.
For the joy set before him, Great.
Good. Well, thank you, Tim. That was good. Really enjoyed that.
Great. Have a great week, everybody, and see you soon.
Yeah.